All 2019 will be told. This film is directed by Lee Won-tae and stars actor Ma Dong-suk, or better known as Don Lee, and there is Kim Yoo-yeol. This Korean film tells the action of gangsters and police who work together to find the perpetrator of a serial killer, who is a psychopath. How's it going? Here's the storyline. The film begins with a scene of a strange man who suddenly crashes into a car driver in front of him. Before long, the owner of the car in front of him got out of the car with the intention of taking photos so that later he could claim car insurance. However, the stranger instead approached the person and beat him from behind and then killed him in the car with multiple stabs to death. The stranger turns out to be a psychopath named Kang Kyun-ho. The next day, two police officers were seen on their way to the murder scene. He is Young Tae-suk and his partner Kim Dong-chol. Due to traffic jams, they were late for the murder scene. Tae-suk is annoyed. Then he accidentally sees a gangster who is in front of the casino. Tae-suk immediately got out of the car, then approached them and entered the casino. He beats up the gangsters who try to stop him from entering the casino. His scene switches to showing a gangster boss who is training. His name is Jang Dong-soo, a casino owner and leader of a gangster who controls all areas of the city. Not long after, came a right-hand man named Kwon Oh-sung. He informs him that Tae-suk is making a mess at his casino. Dong-soo hears this and immediately stops his training and heads to his casino. While walking, he calls the police commander Ho-bong to stop Tae-suk from making a mess. That means Dong-soo is always bribing the police so that no cops dare to interfere with his business. Then Ho-bong immediately contacted Tae-suk to get out of there and immediately finish his investigation task at the casino. Finally, Tae-suk goes to the crime scene with Dong-soo's men, whom he caught while at the casino. At the crime scene, Tae-suk begins to investigate the events of a very brutal murder. He notices a scratch on the back of the car and then calls his boss, named Seo-jin. He showed the scratches on the car, which was assumed that this case was a murder, which was exactly the same as the previous incident, namely the killer hit the victim's car from behind. The scene switches to Dong-soo, who is solving problems with his business competitor named Hyo Sondo. It is known that he is a gangster leader who wants some of Dong-soo's territory. Even so, Dong-soo still treats Sondo well. Oh-sung, who sees it, can't accept his boss being treated like that. He immediately scolds Sondo bravely. However, soon Sondo's subordinate named Moon-sik joined the fight back to defend his boss. Dong-soo is angry, immediately beats Oh-sung, then pulls Moon-sik's tooth and puts it in Sang-doo's glass in front of him. Then Dong-soo tells Sondo to drink the water. Sang-doo is forced to drink it. After that, Dong-soo also invites Sondo to make peace and no longer interfere with each other over their respective territories. At the police station, the cops are in a meeting to investigate a recent murder case. As a result of the meeting, Ho-bong concludes that the death was the motive for the robbery. However, Tae-suk refuted it by providing the evidence he got. He said it was a serial murder. The psychopath always crashes his car before committing, then kills his victims with the same knife as in previous cases. However, his opinion is always rejected by Ho-bong, which makes Tae-suk choose to investigate it himself. The scene changes when Dong-soo rushes home after his meeting. While on the way, suddenly his car was hit from behind. Dong-soo gets out of his car, without knowing that the person who hit him was a psychopath, Kyun-ho. He plans to commit his murder to Dong-soo. Here, Dong-soo still doesn't know the motive. He only knows his car was hit and he doesn't even prolong the problem and instead tells him to leave. However, just as Dong-soo was about to get into the car, Kyun-ho suddenly stabbed him in the back. Dong-soo immediately fights him and beats him a few times. Even though Dong-soo was hit by several stabs, he still managed to survive and stabbed Kyun-ho back in the chest until Kyun-ho finally ran away and directly hit Dong-soo until he passed out. As a result of the incident, Dong-soo had to be rushed to the hospital and had to operate for 2 hours so that he could still be saved. Before long, all of Dong-soo's men attack Sondo's gang headquarters because they suspect Sondo is the mastermind behind his boss's stabbing. On the other hand, it is shown with Kyun-ho, who managed to escape to the countryside. He stitched up his own stab wound with the acres in his car. Before long, he committed the murder of an old man who owned a dog who was nearby. Hollywood's hidden secret exposed: probiotic candy reverses years of damaged teeth and gums. The murder of an old man who owned a dog who was nearby. The next day, Dong-soo, already conscious, calls Oh Sung his right-hand man and tells him that the stabbing wasn't Sondo's doing. A few moments later, Tae-suk comes to see him, but there instead he makes fun of Dong-soo, who was almost killed by a psychopath. It turns out that the incident had a big impact on his power because other gangsters began to dare to seize Dong-soo's power. Tae-suk leaves from there and starts investigating Dong-soo's car. He saw a scratch on the back of his car that was exactly the same as the previous murder incident. Then he reports it to Ho Bon's boss, whose opinion is now gaining acceptance after learning that the psychopath nearly killed Dong-soo. At the hospital, Dong-soo is visited by Sondo, who discovers that Sang-do has secretly taken part of his territory and taken his investors. Here Dong-soo looks calm, but actually he is very upset and is planning something with his men. In the evening, shown with Kyung-ho about to kill the truck driver who was calling on the street, Kyung-ho approaches him and kills him on the spot. He then took the truck. Unbeknownst to him, inside the truck was still a friend of the truck owner who had just woken up from his sleep. Kyung-ho immediately kills him until the knife falls into the street. Then Kyung-ho just walks away ignoring the knife. Returning to Dong-soo, who hired a face painter after the sketch was finished, he began ordering all his men to find the person who stabbed him. Before long, Tae-suk comes back there asking for information from Dong-soo and invites him to work together to catch the psychopath. However, Dong-soo refuses Tae-suk's offer because Dong-soo wants the person to die by his own hands. In the evening, Oh Sung gives Kyung-ho a knife he found on a country road, and he also takes Kyung-ho's car to investigate. Hearing this, Dong-soo finally calls Tae-suk to meet him at his base. There they both agree to cooperate and catch the serial killer. Even Dong-soo will also send his man to help make the investigation easier. Tae-suk starts to get a spotlight on Kyung-ho's face after being given a facial sketch. However, before starting his investigation, Dong-soo orders Oh Sung to kill Sang-do first for taking his territory and investors. The plan goes well and manages to kill Sang-do by sticking Kyung-ho's knife. The next day, it was shown that Tae-suk came and immediately beat up Dong-soo, who turned out to be Tae-suk, already aware of Dong-soo's plan to kill Sang-do. Dong-soo beats Tae-suk back with ease. Then Dong-soo confesses that he really killed Sang-do. Hearing this, Tae-suk is annoyed and plans to catch Dong-soo if he catches Kyung-ho later. Before long, the news of Sang-do's death caused an uproar throughout the city because the police couldn't solve the case until the intelligence officers intervened and took over the investigation of the murder case. That night, Dong-soo and his men come to Sang-do's headquarters to offer their condolences and find that Kyung-ho, the serial killer, is there. He hands Moon-sik a slip of paper that says that the person who killed Sang-do was Dong-soo using his knife. The next day, while Dong-soo and Tae-suk were looking for evidence in Kyung-ho's car, Moon-sik and his men suddenly came and attacked them both. Dong-soo and Tae-suk immediately fought them one by one until they finally lost and killed Moon-sik. No need to wait long, Moon-sik died and was buried. Then Tae-suk, who had Kyung-ho's fingerprints on his car, rushed with his team to the house of the truck driver's wife who Kyung-ho had killed. The plan is that the driver's wife will be used as bait to catch him, where she will invite Kyung-ho to meet at a restaurant. While at the restaurant, their plans did not go smoothly. The psychopath was smarter and had known their plan. Then a chase ensues until Kyung-ho finally manages to run away from them. Even so, Tae-suk still gets information about Kyung-ho. He goes to Kyung-ho's house and gets his picture. The police and gangsters begin to find out Kyung-ho's identity. Dong-soo begins to gather all his men to look for Kyung-ho to remote areas of the city using the photos he got. They rush to find him. That evening, Dong-soo watches the TV news about another murder of an umbrella-bearing schoolgirl, where Dong-soo once gave the same umbrella to the schoolgirl. Dong-soo is so angry that they all leave to continue searching for Kyung-ho. Then they manage to find Kyung-ho's rebel house. However, when they came there, they did not find him because he had left. Knowing this, they plan to wait and surround Kyung-ho if he returns. However, when Kyung-ho gets there, he realizes that the gangsters and the police are waiting for him. Kyung-ho quickly stepped on the gas and immediately left. The chase ensues until their cars collide with each other and Kyung-ho manages to escape again. Then the three of them get out of the car and chase after Kyung-ho in a split. However, when he spoke, Oh Sung was stabbed by Kyung-ho, who was already waiting for him. And the screams were heard by Dong-soo and Tae-suk, Quickly Dong-soo chased again Kyung-ho, who ran into the nightclub. There, he checks all the rooms until